Maybe you are wondering why it feels so hard to go after and do the things that make you happy. Maybe you make your resolutions and your plans, and you even follow through on some of the little ones, but you never seem to pick up any momentum. And you're feeling like you're back at square one a lot of the time. In the last video, I shared some little stories about some of my, what I call transformational clients who have been fulfilling their creative dreams left and right and building their creative momentum and letting their creative joy wings expand. And they end up being less stressed and they feel younger and all sorts of health benefits, like mentally and physically. And what they all have in common, I said in the last video, is that they take action, intentional action on their creative joy. Today, I want to share something that feels a little tender to me and feels a little tender about some of my clients. I'm at the same time as these transformational clients are expanding, right? I'm also holding space for the creative dreams of some clients who haven't taken much action yet. A couple of these dreams I have been holding for almost a year now. And that's my strength. And it's my promise that I will hold your dreams even when you aren't able to for yourself. That is my promise. I even have tender, a few clients who started the process and then chose to shut the door on it. And that happens. It happens. I'm going to share a slide right now to kind of explain or explore a little bit of what I witnessed when this happens with some people. This is the creative joy in action, right? And you can see at the bottom of there's creative sparkles coming in from the left. And that's when people start to tell the story to themselves, right? And then as they move up that spiral, they spark some creative energy. And these clients that I'm talking about who have shut the door, we're moving up that spiral a couple of times. But then they stopped. They stopped taking creative action. They didn't do a 6-minute retune, which is one of the first things that we do. They didn't allow themselves to do a few microdoses of play for 5 minutes or less each day. Even that's something we do a little further up the spiral. They didn't reach out to a single creative champion, some of them after our deep dive pathways session, including me, and they didn't allow their hearts. This is probably one of the biggest ones. They didn't allow their hearts to celebrate any of the actions that they did take. So they never really got moving up there. The joy wings there at the top never started to really expand. And I'm not saying this out of blame or putting them down in any way. And my part is that I didn't find a way to inspire them enough. I am saying that whoever is driving the bus in someone's subconscious mind that has this pattern, whoever's driving the bus, their subconscious around the subject of creativity and joy doesn't believe that they have a choice about these things. And in the cases that I'm witnessing, their disbelief was so strong that they tended to spend a lot of energy making up reasons, some might even say excuses, for why they couldn't take the actions, instead of spending just 5 to 15 minutes a day taking the actions and seeing what happens and allowing themselves to experience the changes that intentional joy building brings very, very quickly, within a few weeks. So this is within a few weeks, right? And maybe it's not the right time. There's timing is everything, but this pattern, what is going on here with this pattern? What is behind or beneath the pattern? Because that's the key to getting past it, right? It is a pattern that a lot of us have going on, but it's rarely identified really clearly, and there's not a lot of awareness around it. And it literally has a psychological term for it. It's called avoidance coping. Okay. My client, Kate, who you heard last week, is having a beautiful and deep transformation these days. She's given me permission to share about her struggles with avoidance coping, which was her main obstacle and sometimes still is in all her transformation. It's a pattern that sets in and doesn't go away that easily, and we're getting past it. So, avoidance coping is where in our past we would have gotten some relief from pain or fear or maybe overwhelm by avoiding certain types of stress or certain types of situations and feelings that might cause us stress or discomfort. But then that that behavior of avoiding those types of situations became a problem because then those situations and feelings never get resolved and we get stuck and we can't move forward. And over time, of course, being stuck depletes our joy because we are creative beings. I create, therefore I am. That's our mantra. And being stuck then betrays the truth of who and what we are as humans. We need to create movement in our lives. So, at first, Kate had trouble like even reaching out to me because even though we had scheduled, had a session or scheduled a session because and she some of them were we missed some of them because just even reaching out to me would trigger the avoidance pattern, right? And we even it's funny, we were laughing about this the other day. We even went a couple of years between sessions at one point. So, but eventually, Kate chose to reach out enough times that her creative momentum started to build. And she started choosing new strategies to bring her past the avoidance, like facing her triggers in tiny steps instead of all at once. That's one thing that we learned to do together, allowing herself to feel her feelings, using her body vibrations, sometimes her vocal vibrations, to help those feelings move through instead of getting overwhelming and allowing ourselves to put them aside whenever it went beyond stretching and into overwhelm. And all this glorious transformation comes from the simple choice that Kate made of reaching out to me and other people that she trusts, people that she knows will understand and support her in breaking things down into like manageable chunks, and who knows and will love her for who she is now today, and at the same time will hold up the mirror, that sparkly mirror of who she wants to become, and will help her get there. So that's the other thing besides taking action that all of my transformational clients have in common is they share with me when they're stuck. And if they have any avoidance coping issues, we get past them because I have definitely been learning how to help you do it quicker than ever before. We won't need to go years like Kate and I did that one time. So, back to the slide here. If you want that joy, if you want and are willing to take action, right? All you need is willingness to take action. Let's make it easy. Maybe, maybe, maybe we can play together and begin your new life and reclaim this joy that is you. At least some part of you knows and understands it deeply, and that this creative joy is your birthright. Say it with me 3 times. I create, therefore I am. Mm-hmm. I create, therefore I am. You are. I create, therefore I am.